Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Good evening, and welcome to Powerful Conversations with Pastor Pamela. I'm so excited about this time tonight. And I have a very special guest with me, Miss Debra Bell Campbell. I want to get something set up. Hello, as you're coming in, just take a moment and say hello in the chat, getting something set up here on my end. Hello. Just take a moment and just say hello. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Just sharing this. Hope everybody's doing well, and go ahead and type in. Hey, Miss Arlene, type in where you're watching from on tonight. Just getting one thing set up here on my end. Here we go. So again, good evening and welcome to the very first Powerful Conversations. I am your host, Pamela Bell, and I am delighted to be here with you all on this evening with my very special guest, Miss Debra Bell Campbell. And before I bring her on the screen tonight, I want to just read her bio. Debra is the CEO of Inspired Visions Consulting Group. She is an international transformational speaker, 4 times best-selling author, MBTI practitioner, nationally certified counselor, and wellness strategist. She is a master life and leadership development coach that has over 15 years of experience in coaching women in leadership in both the private and corporate settings. Debra is passionate about helping her clients revel in their success by embracing the mind and body connection to summon their inner strength and annihilate all barriers. Her and her husband, Eddie, have one son, Xavier, and they reside in Jacksonville, Florida, and she's my cousin. So I'm going to bring her in. Hello, fam. How are you on this evening?
Hello. I am great, Pam. It's so good to be with you tonight.
Thank you. You look absolutely beautiful. Your glowing hair is gorgeous.
Thank
Lips
you. Thank you.
popping.
You as well, as usual.
No, thank you. Thank you. So I'm excited about our time together tonight. First of all, I'm with my family, but just the new thing that God is doing. Usually on Monday nights, I have a Bible study, and I'm still going to continue that. So I'm not leaving that laying that aside. But God just put this in my heart to just begin having a series of conversations with women, just highlighting women that are out here, showing up in their space, doing phenomenal things. Some women that I know personally, like yourself, and some that I don't know. But again, that are out there just showing up and living their yes out loud. And so, you know, we don't get to interact often or see each other face to face quite often. But following your journey, I get to see you on social media and I see you doing just that. You are living your yes out loud. You have just stepped into a new space and you're owning it. You're allowing God to express himself in the earth through you in such a powerful way. And I was like, go ahead, cuz you are out here killing it. And so I'm excited about what God is doing in you. And so when God put this in my heart to begin having, these conversations, you were the first one that came to my mind. And I had no idea what we were going to talk about. But before I picked up the phone and called you that night, God said to me, the power of choosing you. And when he said that to me, that was so powerful because I said, yeah, God, that is what she has done. That is what she is doing every day. Daily, you're making the decision. I'm going to choose Debra. I'm going to choose my happiness. I'm going to choose my assignment. I'm going to choose to go full throttle and fulfill my assignment and leave a legacy in the earth. And so that's the decision that you've made. And so one way that you choose yourself is that you came out of agreement with playing small.
Right.
And you just decided, like I said, to live out loud. You're out here taking up space. And for so many people, we allow fear, the
Yeah.
opinion of others, self-doubt to keep us in a place of mediocrity. And when God has so much more for us, so
Absolutely.
much more. And what made you decide that it was time to stand up, that this is the time, this is the season. I'm choosing Debra right now. So, what made you move into that space and make that decision? Hey, I'm going to choose me this time.
Well, Pam, as you know, and our listening audience, they get the opportunity to find out a little bit. I have 11 brothers and sisters. Proud of every single one. It's a lot of us, isn't it? So growing up, I'm number 8. So growing up with such a large family, sometimes you just kind of get lost in the sea for the most part. Somehow mom and dad managed to give us some acknowledgement. Each of us got what we needed from them. I don't know how they did that. I call them super parents for a very, very long time. But for the most part, you learn how to, or you figure out how do I speak up? How does that happen? So for me, went through life, early 20s, that kind of stuff. But what I can tell you was it was my parents passing that I think really, really impacted me. Sometimes we always, most of us anyway, think about our own mortality when we see people pass on. But it started there. And so for my mom, she went first, and it was like that was just like a slap, like a pow kind of thing. So it took a while to just try to understand what was happening. And what's so interesting about that is that it doesn't matter how old our parents are, for the life of us, we just can't see them moving on. We can't see them. And I don't know what we're thinking. Maybe that I should go first, but for whatever reason, we think our parents are going to live forever. So that was like a pow, right?
Yeah.
And then my dad passed away about 8 months later, literally from the broken heart. And so in that moment when that happened with him, because I had the opportunity to actually be a part of the event, that the operation really saved dad kind of thing, right? And after that is when I really started shifting a bit. Didn't necessarily know what was coming, what I needed to do, but I know something changed then. And what I want to say to the audience and to people, becoming is a process. So I started the shifting then because life was changing. And then COVID came about, and then life really changed. And I would say it was probably around November of 2020 where I really decided, you know what? Life truly is short. There are people out there who are not living their lives according to the assignment. If you can help, and I know you can, then why not? Why not get out there and show people, help people become? So it's not, we see people and we think, oh, they are in such a good place or they're doing so well. But what we don't know is that process, how long it takes to get to where you're going. If you start, then you're sure to get there. But if you never start, then you're almost guaranteed that you won't get there. So that was my starting point.
So, wow, just hearing, and I've heard you on another interview share, you talked about being there when your dad transitioned and you were part of that. And when I heard you share what happened in that moment, my heart, I wouldn't know what to do in that moment. So you were the one that administered CPR to your dad, if I'm saying it correctly?
Yes. It was.
So go ahead, I'm sorry.
It was something very different in that I'm a certified CPR instructor and have been for years. And I know when I've trained people for many years, the first thing I remind them of is that if you just remember that it may be someone very close to you that you care a lot about, that you might actually have to administer CPR on. It's not a perfect stranger. So remember the steps. And so that kicks in, and it did. But there's something about knowing just through training and what you're feeling in the moment, just kind of knowing when that person is gone. Something about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also heard you say that when, losing your mom and then 8 months later losing your dad, during that time, something shifted.
Yes.
Something on the inside made you say that, hey, life is short.
Yeah.
And there's something that I was created to do and put in the earth to do. And it's time to do it. And you also, and somebody put that in the chat too, what you said, becoming is a process.
It is. It is. Like you have to hold the course, as they say, stay in it. And you have to do that. I think, as you said, when you open up, is just the fear, the intimidation, the insecurities. At some point, when you decide that it's time, when you're at that point, then you face those insecurities and you say, oh well, so what? I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna feel the fear and I'm gonna do it anyway.
I'm
When
going to
you
do
when
it
you get to that
anyway.
place. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to do it anyway. When I think about, you made me think about, Jesus when he was facing the cross and he was in the garden. He said, hey, Father, if it's your will, let this cup pass from me. But he had a nevertheless, so becoming and, fulfilling, your process, you got to have a nevertheless,
You do.
because it's going to be painful. There are
Oh
going to
yeah,
be moments when you want to throw in the towel, you want to give up, but nevertheless,
absolutely.
you got to have
Absolutely.
a nevertheless. And so let me ask you this question about, choosing choosing you and choosing to go, hey, full out or full throttle. In what ways has your journey or this journey of choosing you, leaving nothing on the table, how has this empowered Debra?
There's a level of confidence that comes with choosing
Mm-hmm.
you. Like when you think being empowered,
Mm-hmm.
there is something about when you really decide that my life matters, my time matters, who I choose to spend my time with, it all matters. What it is that God wants me to do, it matters. So I would say with the empowerment, just the confidence to be able to step out there, because when you put yourself out there, everybody's watching, and you have the
Mm-hmm.
ones that are waiting for you to fall, and you have the ones that are secretly wishing that they could do what you're doing. But moving along, as you said, nevertheless, those who, whatever the people say, whoever say whatever, nevertheless, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stand before people. And the goal for myself is I want to help as many. I specialize in introverted women in leadership, and I just want to help as many women as I possibly can to know that you don't have to be that person who's, always raising your hand, jumping. You don't have to be that loud, gregarious person all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and you still can achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. You can still do those things. You can still speak up even when you are quiet. You can still speak up.
And it's powerful, what you said, especially being an introvert myself, you know, you have to know that your voice matters and your voice
Absolutely.
is powerful. What God has placed on the inside of you to share, somebody needs to hear it. And so a lot of times we feel like, and you said this, that what I have to say doesn't matter.
Right.
But you have to know that, when God placed something on the inside of you, it's not just for you. Somebody needs what he's placed on the inside of you. And so I love what you said about, how choosing you, you know, you're now more confident,
Yeah.
the boldness that comes with that. And it's like when you choose yourself, you fill your own cup. Because a lot of times, especially as women, I know you're your wife and your mother, and you're serving everybody else. You're pouring into everybody else's cup and filling everybody else's cup. And it starts for us as little girls. We're taught to serve, and you got to take care of your husband, take care of the house, do this, take care of everybody else. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you're weary and overwhelmed. And then, if you work full time, you have expectations from your job and everyone else, and you're pouring out, pouring out. What about your happiness? What about
Absolutely.
your assignment? What about your dreams and things that God has placed on the inside of you? So we have to take that time, and you
You
got to
do.
say yes to yourself.
You do. Absolutely. I sometimes, like you said, we've been taught things culturally. You
Mhm.
have, what we are expected to do and expected to be. And so we're now learning, of course, that self-care, taking care of yourself, saying yes to yourself, is
Mhm.
not being selfish, but
Right.
also understanding that as you build and cultivate relationships, it becomes important, that you're being your true self, that you're being transparent in these relationships. And so that people understand, like, it's okay for you to take 5 minutes. You know how sometimes, and I know for those out there who may be parents, and even if you're not, you know how you pull into the driveway sometimes and you just sit in the car, and you some of us sit a little bit longer than others, and ain't no judgment with that. But we just sit in the car and just kind of take a breath and realizing it's okay to take a breath, because sometimes for some people, your second shift is on. When you've done with the work for the day, now here's second shift. That's being the parent, being the wife, being the husbands, or whomever, that comes into play, right?
Mhm.
So just understanding that in order for you to take care of yourself, in
Mhm.
order to feel, like you say, to be able to serve others, your cup has to be filled first so you can serve in the overflow.
Mhm. And I love how you brought that out about it's not selfish to choose yourself. And we're taught also when we talk about self care. You talked about self care also. Um, we're taught that that is an event. Self care has to be a
Right.
lifestyle. It has to be a
Absolutely.
lifestyle, not just I'm going to go to the spa this Saturday. How are you taking care of yourself every day? That has to be the mindset. It's not okay, this is an event, it's a self care day. You have to have a life of self care.
You do.
So let me ask this question too. When I was thinking about, our topic, choosing yourself, I thought about authenticity, okay? Because the beautiful thing about choosing you is that you also tap into the power of authenticity. And I wanted to share this definition that Brene Brown, the author, this is her definition of authenticity. She says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. And so that is why I feel that, one of the reasons I feel choosing you is so powerful, because you're choosing to let go of the pressures and the expectations that are placed on you by everyone else. So in choosing
Absolutely.
you and choosing authenticity, it can lead you, and you talked about this, it leads you into a beautiful journey of discovery into who you really are. You talked about how things shifted in that moment, that difficult moment, that moment of adversity in your life when you lost your parents. Something shifted. But you also began, as you began to move in these new spaces, you began to see sides of Deborah that you probably had no idea were even there. New giftings being unlocked and new things being revealed. And you also got to see strength in things beyond your titles of author, beyond your roles. So, as we heard Renee's definition of authenticity, she said it's the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Let me ask you, for Debra, how do you do this daily? How do you each day let go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are? How do you do that each day?
Well, that's not as easy as it sounds, because
Mhm.
as you stated, the roles, like we all have these different hats that we wear throughout, our daily lives. What I'm often reminded of, and I think it's important, is that I'm a walker.
Okay.
And so once upon a time, people would ask, like, why do you always walk? And I remember, how you have those fun childhood memories, right? And I go back and say again, there were 12 of us. I do not know how my mom, I didn't know then when I was younger, I didn't know how my mom really stayed sane with all of us. And it was only four, there's only four boys, but boys are different. So they're a lot to
Yeah.
keep up with. But my mom, we lived in the country, and we had all of this land behind us. And my mom would take us on these hikes. We used to call it, going through the pastures.
Really?
That was it. Yeah, we used to go through the pastures. And these trips would be filled with adventure, because you got the insects, you got the wild out there. Thank God the wild didn't approach me, but we were out there, right, with all of the animals, trees, all the stuff that I miss by living in the city now. But I learned how to walk. In that process, I also learned that that's my me time. That's the time I get to have that conversation with my creator. And we set the agenda for today. We talk about in that, while 2.5 miles most of the time, I generally get that in before I start work. So when I think authenticity, it is that practice of getting in touch with yourself and reminding yourself that, yes, I am somebody's mom, I am somebody's wife, I'm sister, I'm cousin, I'm friend, I'm supervisor, I'm boss lady, as some people call it, right? I am all of those things. However, when I step into the space with all of those people, I am the same person. You don't get Debra the supervisor and then Debra the mom. You get Debra. Now I know how to interact in different places, but I'm true to myself. I'm true to what I stand for and who I am. And I teach in terms of my child, educate in terms of my child, educate in terms of what it is I do daily. And so for me, there's no changing who I am from the core. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of who I've become and who I will continue. Like, how they say what I want to be when I grow up. I'm still saying what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a better leader, a better mom, a better wife, a better friend, a better cousin. I want to be better. And that's an everyday thing.
I want to be better than the day before, every day,
Absolutely.
growing
Absolutely.
and learning. Part of the process,
Forever.
right?
Absolutely. It's
That's
a process. It doesn't happen overnight.
and that's part of the becoming, like you talked about earlier. Making a decision that I want to be better, and um, knowing who you are at your core. That's powerful. Beyond mother, look, somebody stripped all the roles away. Mother, teacher,
Right.
preacher. Who are
Right.
you underneath all of those things? Who are you at your core?
Absolutely.
So I've watched you on platforms with Dr. Cheryl Woods and I love Les Brown, okay? The Les Brown.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And every time I've seen you show up like, I'm supposed to be here, right? That's how you show up,
Absolutely.
right? So, how have you been able to allow God to express Himself through you? I mean, in spaces like that, with those what we call the big names, okay? in spaces like that, how have you been able to be authentic and allow God to express himself through you in the way he wants to do it with your giftings without allowing intimidation or fear, insecurity, all of those things to hinder you?
If I told you that I wasn't intimidated and that I wasn't afraid, when I said the shifting really, it started in 2016,
Mhm.
but didn't actually start like I didn't make any moves. I knew things needed to change. And you know how sometimes we just stagnant and we wait or we hear the voice telling you what you need to do and we just be disobedient. So for many years, I just was pretty much disobedient, wondering. So I do enough. Like I train, I've counseled, I've done enough. Like I'm not really sure if I need to get out here and do the speaking thing, especially as an introverted person. Because
Mhm.
truth be told, and like you say, you're an introvert as well. We like we like the party that happens up here. Like we get excited about our ideas and what we like to do, and we share them with a few people. We connect one to one with people. The thing about being in the space of people as great as Dr. Sherwood and D. Les Brown is that you have to remember that their calling is for them. They are mentors and they are teachers, um, coaches. Their calling is for them. And as great as they are, I will never be like them, who they are, but I will be great in my own right. What I have to pass on and to teach and to coach, that's for the people who's looking for me. And they're out there. So understanding, even with, because I have other amazing people that I've become connected with as a result of, as D. Les Brown often says, relationship currency. Um, Not to compare yourself to anyone else. And I mean, we do it. We all do it. But you have to realize that I can look at the next person and say, wow, he is really great or she is really great. And I have to be reminded that Debra is really great too. And what she has to do, her calling is her calling. So be afraid and do it anyway. I've had people to say, so you're an introverted leader. Don't you what? I thought y'all don't talk. Oh, we talk. And we listen. And for me, I finally listened to what God was saying. It's time. Like when you're ready. I don't know because I've already given you the assignment. You've been procrastinating a bit. So get out there. Get out there, and you're gonna fall, and you're gonna flop, and you're gonna do all that stuff. However, this is what I've called you to do. Go do it. So that's where I'm at. Even though I've done it, I've been intimidated a little bit, but not a whole lot. I would say, having all those sisters and brothers, you get tough in ways that you can't imagine. You have to be tough. So yeah, I've done it afraid. I've been intimidated, and I keep going. I'm not concerned about what they bring to the table and what they're gonna do. I'm concerned about what my assignment is, what I need to do.
I love that. So doing it afraid. And the awesome thing about it is, you said Deborah Bell Campbell is great too. You got to know that. The same
Gotcha.
God that equipped Les Brown and Dr. Cheryl Woods is the same God that has equipped you. So
Absolutely.
that's what you have to know. When God places you in a room, or he places you in tables, or he gives you access, he placed you there because there's something he wants to do in that space. There's somebody in that space that needs to hear him through you.
Absolutely.
And so we can't allow, like Debra was saying, we can't allow fear to stop us. Fear will come. You'll get the butterflies in your stomach. Even when I get ready to come online, the butterflies come. But I still got to hit that go live button anyway, because
Oh, yeah.
somebody needs to hear what God wants to say through me. So I can't
Right.
let fear stop me. I can't let intimidation stop me. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love that you were open and honest and said, hey, sometimes I am afraid. Sometimes I
Yeah.
am intimidated. People need to hear that because it happens. It's real. It comes. But
Absolutely.
you have to move anyway. Do it afraid.
Absolutely.
Let me move on. So you shared in an online interview. I've been listening, girl. How
I,
every person,
you're
how
not
every,
stalking me, are you? There? Are you stalking me?
no, not stalking,
Yeah,
not
I
stalking.
appreciate it.
But you shared how every person must eventually shift. And then you have this acronym for shift that stayed with me. Stop hiding inside and face your truth. So talk about that acronym and the revelation behind it, because when you share that in that, I think it's a podcast interview, I was like, that's powerful. Stop hiding inside and face your truth.
Absolutely. I remember when I had that moment. Um, it was, sometimes you're sitting there and you're thinking, should I do it, and should I not? Because things started to happen long before I actually moved on it. But I remember, and I say this all the time. I was at a virtual speaker con. It was speaker con 2020, and at this point, this was November of 2020. So we were just figuring out the world, figuring out, okay, how we're living, and the world had to shift. So we went from in-person stuff. We went from working in person. Some of us had the opportunity to work a little bit from home. We learned how to utilize the internet through platforms like this and Zoom and Teams and things like that. So I was at that conference and I was just watching, because I do a lot, just like you just said, you've been listening and you watch. Well, I do the same thing, and I do probably be stalking some people, though, for real. I probably do that, right? But I watch and I listen, and I remember the thing that got me to move was that Dr. Cheryl Wood said, look at your feet. And, she, had you to look at your feet, that kind of stuff, and determine if your feet going to be in that same spot. Like, are you going to be in the same place next year? Like this time next year, are you going to be in the same space? And I was watching it and I was listening and I was excited. I was like, how you hype yourself up for a minute, like, oh my goodness, like I can't be in the same place. Like it's got to be better than this, because at this point we saw what COVID did. Like it wasn't, people lost their lives. So it was like, it's gonna be now or never. It's time to move. So to stop hiding inside and face your truth is more about, so you have a story to tell, you have a message to get out. Why are you hiding? Why are you thinking that what you have to pass on is not important enough to get it out there? And face your truth with it. And for me, the truth was, I know a lot. I'm one of those people that I read a lot of stuff. I think we used to say, me and a group of friends used to say, I carry a lot of useful information, but a lot of just information, right? I'm an information junkie, so to speak. So I thought about that and I was like, it's now or never. And for me, it was about investing, because, transformation does not come without a transaction. And that's my speaker coach. And she reminds us of that, Dr. Sherwood. And so she's right. And I was like, okay, this was the first time that I really decided to invest in me. and I embarked upon a speaking engagement. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never done that before. And a writing opportunity. And I was like, well, I can write, but I've never written it up, for a book or anything like that. So all of that was very different to me, but something would not allow me to not do it. And at the moment, I was like, I don't know if I got money for that. Well, let me just say, you find money for the things that you need to find money for. And so until this day, and that 2021 was a transformational year for me, I found monies that I didn't know I had, and I've done things and invest. And the more I invest in me, the more I speak out to people and for people. I realized that, I can't worry about the how. I just have to do it. Everything else is going to come. It will come, and it has. It will continue as long as I'm continuing on the path that I'm on.
Wow. That was
I
beautiful.
know that's a mouthful there, isn't it?
You had so many awesome nuggets. I was trying to write some things down, but I can't worry about the how. Just got to do it. I was trying to write everything down, but I couldn't. That was powerful. Transformation requires transaction. You got to invest in yourself. As you were saying that, I just thought about, wow, you were sowing your finances into what God had already deposited on the inside of you.
Oh, wow.
You were agreeing. So it was like you were agreeing in the earth with what God has already done in the heavens. It was already done. So when you're investing your finances into what God has already done, He had no choice but to multiply that. Speaking engagements, more opportunities, because you were just simply investing in what God has already invested and deposited on the inside of you. So we have to make those choices sometimes. Like Debra was saying, she had to invest financially into, what she felt God was telling her to do in that season. And as a result, God honored that. He honored her faith, and her faith, she just didn't just go. She also invested. That's faith too. God, you're telling me to do this. Okay, I'm gonna put my money behind it too.
Right.
So she invested in herself. She invested into the gifts that God had placed on the inside of her. And God just has been opening so many doors for her. So thank you for sharing that. I wanted to get ready to wrap up in just a minute. I have one more question I gotta ask. So
okay.
when you so when you found that you were responding to, what God is doing, the shift, did it make others who may have been comfortable with the pre-pandemic version or the pre-shift version uncomfortable? Or did it demand that those around you that they shift too? Because sometimes, when you go to another level or you're out there living full throttle and you decide, hey, I'm going to live this thing out loud, there are people around you, they're comfortable with the old you. They're comfortable with the one who's living in mediocrity. And like, you begin to shift like, hey, girl, you're acting different right now. You're moving different right now. Did you see that?
Yeah. It's amazing though. The gift of discernment is truly amazing, because when you decide this is what I've been called to do, sometimes you have to make that all or nothing. Sometimes you have to do an all or nothing. I'm either all in or I'm not. So when you decide that I'm moving forward, making that shift, as you said, people start to just kind of like, oh well, people drop off like flies. Let's put it that way. They just drop off, and you wonder a little bit about, okay, well, we used to talk. We used to hang out a little bit, but what happens is that God removed those obstacles, and sometimes those obstacles are people, and you don't have to. We pray sometimes, God, you don't have to move the mountain, but just give me the strength to climb, right? And so in those prayers, you're asking Him to, for those people who are not for you, with you. For those people, they have somewhere they need to be. It's just not with you. So noticing for people, they become uncomfortable. And a lot of people, sometimes you find we assume, like you said earlier, people, we assume that everybody, just because they are blood related to you, that they wish you well and they will support you that way. And that's not always the truth. So you do have some of those people that are close to you, that begin to, spread out a little bit there too. So family, friends, I've seen that. And I've learned to say, what makes you uncomfortable is what makes you uncomfortable. I'm not upset when people decide that they don't want, or they no longer want to be as close to me as they was, because that says a lot about the relationship, the circle of support, the people in your life. So I just say, really, that's God. That's God for you. When you pray for something, be prepared to receive. And don't ask questions about it. If somebody got to go, they just got to go. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. And I wish people well. But there has to be, for me, this is what you get. And so either you can handle that or you can't. But again, my message is specifically for someone. They know who they are. They will find me. I will find them, however way that come. And if it's not for you, it's not. But it's okay. Because there's somebody else out there for you that God is working through just for you. It just may not be me.
So when you make a decision to choose you, there are people in your life, they won't
Yeah,
choose the new you.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's okay. You gotta be okay with people walking out.
You got to.
You gotta be okay with it, because like you were saying, God is just simply making room, because they may have been there for a season, but as he positions you in the seasons, then there are destiny helpers that you need in the season you shifted into. And so
Absolutely.
they're just making room. Hey, making space for somebody else to come in to help push you even higher, even farther in the things of God.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And excited about it. Excited about that for this season. Who I'm meeting, who's elevating me, and then who I'm getting the opportunity to elevate.
Yes. So one thing on your bio, you have listed that you're a 4-time best-selling author. And do you have your book with you? The last one, I think it's You Are Enough. Do you have a copy of that one with you?
I do. I have a copy of all of them.
So this is the book tonight. Tell us a little bit about that book as we're preparing to close, because tonight I'm going to purchase a copy of that book to give away to somebody who's watching us live. And so we're going to do that by just typing in the chat, I am choosing me. I am choosing me. And I'll go back and look at the comments and enter you into the drawing to give away. So tell us a little bit about that book. You Are Enough.
Oh wow! Well, I can't say enough amazing things about this book in particular. It was my first project with the Les Browns. I was excited about that, but it's about inspiration and empowerment. You Are Enough is about stories of people who basically, like you said, has chosen themselves, like realizing that in my whatever my talents may be, I am enough just as I am. And so there were about 74 co-authors to this book. So it was a lot of us. It was a 3-day summit that we had, but it is an amazing read. Sometimes I think we forget because our lives are so busy. But there are some amazing, 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 amazing people in this world. And so to read these stories of empowerment, they share their lives, just a snippet of it, of the things that they've gone through. And when they realize that they was enough, just as they are, and then whatever they had to offer, it's enough. So it's an amazing read. And, you will be the lucky winner. You get the opportunity, and Pam will also, give me the name, so I will personally autograph it to you as well,
Great.
before we send it on its way. And I just hope the lucky winner. I hope that you can enjoy it as much as I have, and some of the other people who purchased the book throughout the year.
Awesome. I see all those comments. I am choosing me in the chat. So somebody's going to be the lucky winner of that book.
Yeah,
And
awesome.
so as we're closing, I want to give you the opportunity to say, what would you say to the woman that is in that critical season where she senses that a shift is necessary in order to choose her now? She's been there for everybody else, but she has yet to fully show up for herself. So, what would you say to that woman who's in that season? They're sensing something has to change, but they don't even know how to shift.
Well, the first thing I would say is go for it, and I know if she's in that moment and she don't know what to do, well, that's why, as you said earlier, God put people in places that you connect with that can help you move forward. And so change is fluid, you know it's going to always happen. When you hear that voice telling you, because you'll know when it's time to shift. It's that nagging, that little voice in your head that keeps telling you, okay, you know what you need to do. You're just not doing it. And so some of us need some help with that. Some of us need some direction with that. But give yourself some grace. So if you hear the voice in your head and you're still thinking, no, I don't know how to do it, give yourself some grace. And then think about it. Think about it, pray about it. Um, Talk with people that you trust, that understands the real you, and you know who those people are. I'm not talking about, my, as they used to say. I don't want to spill the age here, but the home girl, right? That's it. May not be the home girl, but there are people in your life that you can kind of turn to. And if not, then there's people like me out there who's available and ready to assist. I always tell people, especially for the population that I specialize in, which is the introverted career women, there's 25 to 40% of the world of the population are introverts. And no, it's not a condition. We okay. It's nothing to feel like there's something wrong. Being an introvert is not a disease. It doesn't mean you're shy. It doesn't mean that you can't do the things that you want to do. But it is about, even if you're not in leadership, it is about your voice. It's about taking the time, understanding how powerful you are within, and what do you have to say? What do you have to offer? So, as a leadership development coach, just being able to start there, communication is key, confidence is key, being authentic is key. And so, helping people go through those things and learn and understand what they are, I'll say to that person who's on the brink and don't necessarily know, that if you do not feel like you can do it on your own, then there are people available that can assist you. And we're waiting. We're waiting for you. So when you're ready, I'm ready.
How can they connect with you, cuz? How can people connect with you?
So I can be reached on all of my social media platforms as Debra Campbell. But also, if you go to debrabell-campbell.com, and join my community. That way you'll be the first to find out what's happening, what's coming down the pike. There's some master classes and some, coaching programs that are coming down the pike that, you may find that it might be a fit for you. But you can reach me there.
So is that a Facebook community, Debra Bell-Campbell on Facebook, or is that
That's the website.
website?
There, that's the website, and you can put your information in there. I'm always giving out freebies. So, you could get a free ebook about leadership development, 5 key leadership skills, that type of thing. But you can message me from Facebook or from Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Just put in my name. You should be able to find me with no problem, or Twitter. And I'll be happy to assist you however way that I can.
So someone just asked, could we share the link? So I'm going to try to type. So it's Debra.
DebraBell hyphen Campbell.com.
I'm going to get it in the chat.
Thank you.
So they can have it. See my creative space. Okay. I don't see my.
And I would say while you're doing that, everybody that's listening know you as Pastor Pamela. You my cuz. That's what I know. That's Pam, my cuz, right?
Yes.
I just want to thank you for allowing me to be your first guest on your show. I am excited about what God has placed in your heart to do. And I know you're going to reach so many people. And there will be many, many more powerful conversations. I can't wait to tune in to see who you're going to have next, when the next time is happening, all that good stuff. And I'll be sure to share that with my communities as well, so that people won't miss out on such a powerful conversation with you.
Oh, thank you, cuz.
Absolutely.
It is so funny when you're talking about how your mom take you guys to the pasture. I knew exactly. I remember the pastures in Linden, Alabama. Yeah. So I was reminiscing.
Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you so much. And everybody that's tuning in, thank you all so much for joining us on tonight. You can share this, go back and watch the replay. This is also on my YouTube channel. Again, thank you all, and choose you. I pray that something was said tonight that inspired you, that motivated you. Again, if you need some support, reach out to my cousin here. Reach out to me. We're ready to assist you. So I love you all. Thank you. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May He cause His face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious to you. May He lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. In Jesus' name. God bless you all, and thank you for joining.
Absolutely.